Hey guys, what's up? Alec back with another stock market investing video. And if we look at the week, we see some red going on right now. I'm down $8 in the day. We are even down $200 at one point in the day. And in the week, we're even down $5. In the month, we are still up 23%. So that is always good news. But this video today is going to be all about the stock market crash and if there's a stock market crash coming in December. So if you're worried about the stock market crash, make sure you watch this full video. It's going to be value packed, super value packed. We're going to make a lot of good points in this video that's to consider. We're going to be talking about a few different catalysts too. And then we're going to be going over exactly what I'm personally doing with my money, where I'm putting my money, and if I'm buying or selling. So make sure you watch this full video for a lot of value. All right, so the first point I want to make is a lot of big tech and a lot of EVs are down. So today you see Facebook red, you see Amazon, Google, Microsoft red, and yesterday there was a lot of red stocks too, like Tesla, Apple, Netflix, and even more was happening yesterday, as you guys remember, which was Wednesday. As far as EV, Hyliion, Fisker is down 10% today, and they were down yesterday too. A lot of these other ones were down yesterday too. So a lot of the EVs are down yesterday, today. And a big reason we're seeing red in the market right now is they just can't figure out stimulus. The market's basically saying, you guys are out of time to figure out stimulus. You had your chance. Let's get this stimulus solved ASAP. Otherwise, we're going to keep seeing red in the market. Also, another thing is the government could shut down the nation again. We're already seeing statewide, California shutting down, and a few other places shutting down, like cities, like big cities like New York and Chicago. And if you guys haven't heard of Quadruple Witching Day, it's coming. It's right around the corner. So triple witching hour is the last hour of the stock market trading session on the third Friday of every March, June, September, and December. Those are the expirations of three kind of securities: stock index futures, stock market index options, and then stock options. So this is definitely something to watch out. It's typically the most volatile time in the stock market. So I would definitely do some research on Quadruple Witching Day, the third Friday in December. Also, I was reading an article by JPM that was saying that big tech companies like DocuSign and Zoom, for example, they're saying people are way too bullish on these companies and they need to see a little bit downward motion. And I do agree. Zoom, for example, is one stock that actually has performed better than Tesla. I think they're up like 800% in one calendar year, which is absolutely bonkers. And the next point that we're going to be making is JPM in the article also said 2021 is going to be a great year for stocks, which is always a good indicator that it will be, which is a positive note. Now, two stocks I do want you guys to take advantage of is going to be Wix and Shopify. These are definitely ones you want to take advantage of right now. And the next, especially if you're a long-term holder, because in the next 2, 3, 5 years, Wix and Shopify, I think, will take off a lot. So Wix, for example, I think we can see them getting right around $250. So I would put a price alert about $250. And then Shopify, I think we can see this stock right around about $950 too. So these are ones you're going to want to take advantage of. I think they have huge, huge growth potential in the next 5 years. Even in the next 2 years, both of these ones have huge growth potential. So after that, let's talk about DoorDash and Airbnb, because I know a lot of people are bringing that up. And basically everyone's messaging me about DoorDash and Airbnb. So DoorDash is at an all-time high right now because of the pandemic. So I wouldn't buy it. I would stay away from it. I actually stay away from all IPOs in general just because they're not a good deal. There's a lot of hype that rallies them up, and then they come crashing down a few months later. So I typically never buy an IPO for at least 6 months or longer. So keep that in mind whenever you're going to ask me about an IPO. After that, I think Airbnb is a fair deal, right around $105. So I think it's at like 160, 150 right now. So if it goes below about 105, 110, then I'll maybe be considering buying Airbnb. After that, we have a point about the allergy reaction. It's bad for Pfizer and could be bad for CCL, Carnival, and airlines too. So you guys saw that Pfizer put out something that said if you do have allergies and you take the Pfizer vaccine, that it could be bad and it's not a good mixture for those two. And then shortly after that, you saw Pfizer stock dropping a little bit after that news was announced. Now, after that, I want to touch on Tesla a little bit. I think Tesla can go down about 10%, 10% more in December. And then the next point is that FDA to grant emergency use for Pfizer on 12/11, which is today, and Moderna will be soon after. So the FDA is granting use for Pfizer, and then Moderna should be soon after. So I think these stocks actually have a good lift in their stock price coming. They haven't seen their exponential growth yet. I think Pfizer can reach a new all-time high in my personal opinion, and Moderna is already at their all-time high, but I think they can see at least another 10% growth from this news too. Now, the next thing we have to talk about is stimulus could be coming before Christmas, and rental relief would be huge with stimulus because a lot of people are behind on their mortgages. A lot of people are behind on their rent right now, and they're relying on stimulus to come. And if stimulus does not come, then the eviction crisis could be huge, and a lot of negative things could be happening in the market and the economy in it as a whole. And one thing I do want you guys to realize is the market takes stuff to very extremes. So it's very extreme when in reality, it's never as bad as the market makes it seem. It's never as good as the market makes it seem either. So in reality, life is not as much of an up and down roller coaster as the stock market is. When there's good news, the stock market overreacts on good news. When there's bad news, the stock market overreacts on the bad news. Is something to take into consideration too. Now, January 5th is the election date when we figure out who controls the Senate, Democrats or Republicans, which is huge because if we have a Democratic president, it would be best for the market to keep a Republican Senate. So we do want to see a Republican Senate for the stock market if there is going to be a Democratic president, because if there's a Democratic president and a Democratic Senate, then people are afraid of a lot of bills being passed with like higher income taxes to corporations, higher income taxes to individual as well. So with the Republican and the Democratic president, it's a good balance that way. Now, after that, the next point we're going to be making is hedge funds. A lot of hedge funds will actually start pulling their money out right before 2021 hits. So witching hour, basically. And the reason why hedge funds want to pull their money out before 2021 is so they can put profits on their balance sheet for 2020. And they can say, hey, look, we made this much money in 2020. They pull their profits out before January hits so that the way they can show their profits that they made in 2020. And remember, hedge funds control the stock market. Individuals like me and you and Johnny and Jim and all these other people that put a few $1,000s or tens of $1,000s in the stock market, it does not have near as an effect on the stock market as hedge funds who put hundreds of millions of dollars into the stock market. So the needle moves red or green a lot more for a stock if hedge funds are pulling their money out rather than if I'm pulling my money out or if you're pulling your money out. So hedge funds is a big thing. That's actually one of the top catalysts of the video. The next catalyst is going to be the COVID deaths are very important and hospitalizations are very important, and they're rising very rapidly, and they're projected to keep rising for months. So it's not like this is over and COVID is just done, but in some recent light and some good news, COVID's deaths and cases and hospitalizations have not done anything to the market at all. It has not even affected the market in the slightest in the last couple weeks to last month. But there is a lot of fear that Congress will not pass the stimulus bill, and people are starting to give up and they need the money. So like we were saying earlier in the video, a lot of people are behind on their mortgages, their rent, and they need this money and they're relying on this money. And right now there's a lot of fear that it won't get passed, which in my personal opinion, I think it will get passed in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Also, there's a lot of fear of a second lockdown because remember the first lockdown, everybody lost their jobs. A lot of people were out of a job. Places were shutting down. We couldn't eat anywhere Basically, California is in lockdown right now, and there's fears that other states will go into lockdown too, like Texas, Florida, New York, and some of the other big ones too. And there's even fear of a nationwide shutdown, lockdown. Now, what we could be seeing after the shutdown, the lockdown happens is a market rotation. So whenever you hear market rotation, what that means is typically like we saw like EVs and energy stocks and some big tech companies like Zoom all rallying and shooting up like crazy percentage. So the market has been favoring those stocks very heavily, especially EVs. But when you hear a market rotation, what can be happening is stocks, this is just an example, but stocks like Carnival or airlines and retail and restaurants can be shooting up, and they can be the stock market's favorite, and EVs and big tech and everything could go down a little bit. So we could see a market rotation. As for that rotation, we don't know what it's going to be yet, but keep an eye out if we do see certain sectors that are benefiting in a month or 2 months and certain sectors that are being hurt more than the other ones. So that's a really good thing to keep an eye out for. Now, one thing I do want to touch on too is stocks are very, very pricey right now, and you should be waiting and setting price alerts. I tell a lot of my students right now, set your price alerts. We go over price alerts every single day and new ones to be adding to your list, because once those hit, we know that it's going to be a good deal and we're getting a good deal. So honestly, we do need to see red days in the market for a healthy stock market. You don't want to see green, green, green all the time. Otherwise, it's not going to be a healthy stock market, and it's going to affect the stock market long term. So we definitely want to see some red in the stock market. Honestly, I want to put in $10,000 in the next 30 to 60 days in the stock market. So if we see some good prices, we see some red in the market, we see some weakness in the market in December and January, I'm more than prepared to put in $10,000 or more in the stock market in the next 30 to 60 days. I've actually been pulling some of my earnings in the last week. I post on my close friends story all the time what I'm selling, what I'm buying, and I will continue to pull more earnings. But once we see red days, I'm going to be buying a lot, and I'm going to be posting exactly what I'm buying in my close friends list. So if you are in my close friends list and we see some red days going on, you are in luck, because you will see exactly what I'm buying, when I'm buying, and what price points I'm buying at too. So that's going to be very, very beneficial for you guys. So that way you're prepared if weakness and red days do come in the market, and you're not just buying random stocks all willy-nilly. One of the biggest secrets in the stock market is to buy during dips. Buy during dips, buy good companies during dips, and buy a lot of money in dips too. Now, don't try to time the bottom, because whenever you think there's a bottom, it could go lower. But as long as you hold these dips and you have a long-term mindset of 1 to 2 years at least, especially when you're buying dips, you're going to be coming out on top. Don't go and buy dips and say, oh, this is my rent money that I'm going to be needing next month, or this is my tuition money that I need next month. Let me just buy a dip and hope it goes up. It doesn't work like that when you buy dips. Typically, you have to hold for 6 to 12 months or even longer when you buy a dip. But it is one of the biggest secrets to the stock market, and it's a great, great way to make money in the stock market, is buying dips and holding those good companies for a long time. So guys, that is the video. I hope you did enjoy it, and it gave you a little bit of perspective on the stock market right now, and you kind of have a plan of what's going on. If you don't have a plan, that's what my close friends list is for. We help you develop a plan. And honestly, you learn a lot of stuff that you probably never thought you would be learning. So the last 1 month, I'm up 23%. The last 3 months, we're up about 40%. And if you want to see exactly what I'm going to be buying, what I'm going to be selling, especially during those red days coming in all of December and January, definitely reach out to me. I have a few spots open right now for the close friends list. They typically fill up as soon as I open them. So hit me up right away if you guys do want a spot. Make sure you like this video, leave a thumbs up on it so the YouTube algorithm recommends it to other people, and we can get more people watching this video too. Comment below on what your guys' thoughts are, and what are some good companies that you guys are wanting to get into during December and January. All right, guys, remember, share with a friend. I'll see you in the next video. And until next time, guys, remember, don't time the market, buy the market. Peace.